First of all, before I start, my name's John and I'm wearing what's called a kilt. A number of people have come up to me today saying they like my skirt. It's not a skirt, it's a kilt. It's Scotland's national dress, and I see there's other pilgrims here as well wearing kilts as well, so that's good to see. A big thank you to Roisin and Sheila for organising this wonderful day in honour of St. Therese. It's a privilege to be here once again in Knock. And so this is going to be a very short talk, a very short reflection on St. Therese's life in the context of the connection with Carfin and Scotland and the relics that are here today, and also how St. Therese gets involved with your life if you let her do so, and how she can really, really help and really intercede for you, as we have seen over the years, Brian and myself. So I've called this Everything is Grace, because that was one of the quotes of St. Therese, and how the little flower's roots spread far and wide. So, just as a way of introduction, my name's John Mallon, and I'm here with Brian Timmins and my two cousins, Thomas Mallon at the back, from Sancta Familia. So Sancta Familia are Scotland's largest Catholic social media channel, which we founded in 2016, and it reaches millions of people every year online. This is a picture of us with the relics of St. Therese outside of our offices at Holy Family Moss End. So the name Sancta Familia, for the Latin scholars here, means Holy Family, so it's named after our parish church. And the priest here is also here, Father Grant, who is the rector, the guardian of Carfin Grotto. So he's come over as well this weekend because Carfin, as we'll find out, is a very, very important place for St. Therese's story in the world. Very, very influential. So we started this in 2016, and we've been all over the world in various countries covering events, most recently in Portugal for the World Youth Day, various times in Ireland, where we feel very much at home because we've got Irish roots. Most of our genes are Irish. So despite the kilt, most of our DNA is Irish. So that was in 2019, before the pandemic. But this is not the first time I've been to Knock. The first time I was in Knock was in the year 2000, and that's me sitting there, with the hat on, by the way, with my grandfather, my late grandfather, Joe Mallon. And that cafe, I think, is still there. So I'm going to try and recreate that photograph later on. But at that point in time, I wasn't so keen on the prayers in Knock. I was more interested in the toy shop behind. And we went into the toy shop, the cousins and I. Brian's in there as well. And we bought some fake cigarettes. So don't worry, they're not real cigarettes. These are fake ones that puff out powder of some kind. So that was in 2000. That was a great memory from being here in Knock. So it's good to be back here, full circle again. But I want to take you back to 2019. Father Grant, Brian and myself went to Lisieux, and we got an incredible insight into St. Therese's life through various sites in Lisieux, Alençon, the house where she grew up, the school she went to, the church she was baptised. And that experience, has anyone been here to Alençon or Lisieux? Anyone been? A few people have been, so that's good. So what you'll be aware of when you go there is the deep spirituality you find in Lisieux. It's unlike Lourdes, it's unlike Knock, it's unlike Fatima. There's something very quiet about it, normal, but also very spiritual as well. And we really enjoyed our time. I was particularly moved in St. Therese's house called the Buissonnet, and was amazed at how wealthy she was, really. The family were very well off, had all the luxuries of the day, very nice living, but weren't, of course, always as fortunate, as we'll find out. But this story always stuck with me. It's when St. Therese was entering Carmel, and she wasn't allowed to enter at a young age, and she was only 15, but her older sisters had entered, and she was desperate to enter the Carmel monastery. So she spoke to her father, now Saint Louis, in the garden of the Buissonnet, to seek his permission to enter the Carmel. And being saintly and holy, Louis, of course, saw that she desired ardently to enter the convent. So he took a small flower from the garden and plucked it up by its roots and handed it to St. Therese, saying that you'll now be implanted in Carmel. If you think about it, give up what, if you've been at Bussonnet and you see the house, what they gave up to go to the harsh living in the Carmel was quite extraordinary to show the depth of that family's faith. They could have easily lived a very comfortable life, but all the children chose to enter religious life in the harshness of the monastery. So that story particularly stuck with me, that he would allow his daughter to do that. So I'm going to show you a wee video just now. It's a very short video. It's when St. Therese's relics came to Scotland, and thank God that happened in late 2019 and not 5 months later when COVID struck, because the amount of people who were kissing this reliquary 5 months later, that would have been banned. So I'll let you watch this wee short video and I'll be back after that. These are the Carmelite nuns in Dysart in Scotland. So Brian and I went round the whole country following these relics. It was possessed in a hearse. They went to the monasteries, to convents, all around the country, and thousands of people turned out for that. People were amazed at the numbers. Up north in Scotland there's less people. Even there the numbers were huge, but when we got back down to the central belt where the real Catholic centre is, mainly the Irish diaspora, we had a huge crowd. This is Oban. It was a very, very busy 2 weeks, intense timetable. Father Grant, myself and Brian were the ones who followed it everywhere, including to Barlinnie, which is a very notorious prison in Scotland. And to see the prisoners there venerate the relics with the priests there and the Archbishop, who's now sadly passed away, it was a very moving experience, very unique for us all to be there. And the sisters brought with them roses, flowers, but also chocolates to give to the prisoners as well. So there was no standing space, there was no seats, people were flooding out day and night. This is the cathedral in Glasgow, St Andrew's Cathedral, and it was extraordinary what happened in 2019. It was that Canon Taylor said that Scotland was mesmerised, he used that expression. So that was one of the best weeks of my life. Thanks very much. But I want to give you more insight to the things that we experienced during that trip. And I've spoke to the family about telling you this story, and they were more than happy to allow you to share the story. It's about a little baby called baby Therese, who was born on the day that St. Therese arrived in Scotland. So St. Therese, baby Therese, not a saint yet. Therese was born on that day and was named St. Therese after the Relics. But very shortly after her birth, they discovered severe complications with her bowels. And she had a 50% chance of survival, needed operations very, very quickly into her life. So what happened was they got in touch with us, with the Relics, asking and begging for prayers. And we gladly put these on social media. And thousands of people were praying for this baby with the Relics who were there at the time. So we had an army of prayers for this baby, asking and pleading St. Therese to intercede to help baby Therese. And by the grace of St. Therese's intercession, a few days later she made a remarkable recovery from her operation, which was 50-50, and she was able to venerate the Relics herself with a successful operation. So little Therese is now growing very well. You'll see her with her brothers and sisters, a very lovely family, expecting another child. Therese comes to the grotto at Carfin a lot. She's the wee baby in the middle. And the mother told me last night, actually, she was talking to me last night, that before baby Therese was born, they had visited Knock a month before her birth. So that kind of ties in nicely with what's happening here today, that they came here to pray. So there's Therese now in the middle with the major reliquary at Carfin, and that's the heel bone of St. Therese, the largest piece of St. Therese's relics outside of Lisieux, and that's at Carfin, Scotland's national Marian shrine. So St. Therese, baby Therese is doing really well, so she's still thriving. I want to talk to you about the backdrop to how St. Therese's devotion grew, and it's really through Scotland. I'm not saying that because I'm biased, but it's through this man, Canon Taylor. Monsignor Taylor was the founder of Carfin Grotto, and he was born. There's a lot, right? This is the thing here. He had a great connection to St. Therese, but there's a lot of coincidences between Canon Taylor's life and St. Therese's life, and I'll talk you through them and you see what you think about them. He was born on 16th of December 1873, the same year as St. Therese. He was baptised the same date as her, January the 4th, the following year. He was ordained a priest the same year St. Therese died. So we're seeing a kind of parallel with his life, and he saw that himself. So he studies in the priesthood for Saint-Sulpice in France and learns French, which is key to this story. And in 1901, a priest, Father Bernard Lynch, back in Scotland, gives him a copy of The Story of a Soul, which I'm sure some of you have read, and he was captivated by it. He really fell in love with this story and sought permission to translate it. So, once back in Scotland, having read the book, Canon Taylor decides, I'm going to go back to Lisieux and I'm going to visit St. Therese's grave and the Carmel. At this point, no one had heard of this very much unknown French nun who had passed away. And he was one of the first to visit her grave, which is now one of the most well-known graves in the world. So he meets the sisters of St. Therese who are still alive. And in the archive at Carfin, we've got letters from Sister Pauline and Céline from back and forth to Canon Taylor. And it was Canon Taylor that said to the sisters, open St. Therese's cause. This is a saintly girl. She can do much good in the world. Open her cause. And he begged them to do that. Back home in Scotland, he distributes 100,000 copies of the leaflet of her life. So it's a huge endeavour, all-consuming for Canon Taylor from his base at Carfin Grotto. And that selling of those 100,000 allows him to fund one of the first translations of Story of a Soul, the English translation written by Canon Taylor. And it was called A Little White Flower. So the devotion spread rapidly in Scotland, and there were many miracles. Some of them are mentioned in the DVD we did, which you can pick up at the back. Father Grant's brought some, and a book as well, which will tell you in detail about some of those miracles as well. So our cause opened for sainthood in 1911, and Canon Taylor was summoned to the testimony. Now, if you've not been down to the museum in Knock yet, we brought some of the documents the official documents that Canon Taylor had, as well as some of the relics of St. Therese, and including a very, very rare parchment, which you'll see in a video in a minute, which is held in Carfin, and it's here for today only in the museum in Knock. So this is a picture of the opening of Carfin Grotto, 1st of October 1922, the feast of St. Therese. 2,000 people gathered, and the idea of the Carfin Grotto was many of them were Irish miners who were struggling to find work because, as I hasten to remind you all, Scotland was a very anti-Catholic, anti-Irish country in the 1920s and before that. And would you believe it, that the Church of Scotland, this is the National Church of Scotland, put out a pamphlet in 1924 talking about the menace of the Irish race to Scotland. That was the words they used in their document. So against the backdrop to this, you've got the opening of Carfin Grotto. The Depression was on, the Irish miners were poor, they couldn't find work, they couldn't find jobs. So Canon Taylor, from his experience from Lourdes in Lisieux and France, wanted to bring a little bit of that to Scotland. So he opened one of the first replica Lourdes grottos. And from there, pilgrims come in. Canon Taylor was one of the first to unveil a statue of the little flower, St. Therese, after her beatification in 1923. But this caused controversy in Carfin. So she was declared a saint in 1925, but before that she was still blessed. And the criticism came from the fact that many people thought the statue of St. Therese, if you've been to Carfin, you'll see it's opposite Our Lady. The statue of St. Therese would detract from the Blessed Virgin Mary. So he sought advice from Therese's sisters. And they said the following. They said, my saintly sister, who loved her heavenly mother, would not rob Our Lady of her glory. And that was the Pauline to Canon Taylor. So in many ways this quote is applicable to today, because we're here in Knock, which is a very famous Marian shrine in the world, where Our Lady appears. And our focus today is not on Our Lady, but it's on St. Therese. But do not worry, as the words of her sister says, this only magnifies Our Lady. So the statue was erected, and the sisters of St. Therese said she'll shower many blessings on the grotto. And they did. From there forward, 250,000 people that year visited Carfin, and it grew and grew and grew. You can see many processions to St. Therese that happened throughout the years in Carfin. And there was two major miracles. One was Helen Dorn's, and I can't remember the other one's name. Margaret, Father Grant will tell you. In Motherwell, I think it was Margaret Doyle. Both were cured by the intercession of St. Therese, and those were included in her canonisation cause. Canon Taylor, if you go to Carfin today, you chat to people of a certain age, you'll always talk about how Canon Taylor always carried a relic of St. Therese and always blessed people. So this is I'm blessing a woman here. And if I was given a pound for every time I heard a story that Canon Taylor had healed them or cured them through St. Therese's intercession, I'd be a very, very wealthy man, because it was incredible. Another wee link to the grotto, this is my grandparents' wedding, who were married in 1933 on this date in Carfin. So they've got that connection to Carfin as well. I'm going to show you this other wee story. Brian and Thomas's, and my daddy's there as well at the back. Our Nana had tuberculosis, and she spoke of intercession of St. Therese, and I'll tell you that now.
I took pneumonia, and this would be about the 1950s. I was took into Motherwell Hospital, and I was in there, and when they x-rayed me, I had a spot of TB in my right lung. My mother worked in the mill at the time, and she went straight for the mill, no dinner, straight to here for the novena, to the grotto, and she done a novena that I wouldn't need an operation. Without fail, she done this novena, and Canon Taylor seen her and was talking to her, and of course she told them what she was doing the novena for, and he says, Mrs. Brown, don't you worry, he says, your daughter will never need an operation. And they gave me this AP, they collapsed the lung, and it was the air that I used instead of using the lung, so the lung rested and it healed. I've all that man to thank. And he wrote the book about the little flower, and he gave my mother the book for me, and he wrote on it to Anne-Marie, It was through Canon Taylor in Little Floor, the long...
You might have need subtitles for that. My nan had a very thick Scottish accent, for some people who are not Scottish. But she had TB in 1954. There was a chance that her lung would be lost. So her mother, whose 50th anniversary of death falls tomorrow, she visited Canon Taylor and begged him to pray for her. And Canon Taylor reassured her and said, "Your daughter will never need to lose the lung. She'll be healed." And she was in time. And this is the book that was given to my nana. And it's still signed by Canon Taylor here, the book of St Therese's life. So it's a very precious family heirloom for us, and a great reminder of the touching legacy of Canon Taylor and St Therese. So full circle goes round, and Brian and myself end up working for Carfin Grotto as directors of communication there. And it was a wonderful 3 years. During the pandemic, we had to put things online, and we found many graces working there and learning about St Therese and the connections there at Carfin. I'll show you a wee video here about Carfin Grotto, which shows you some of the relics which are here today in the museum. It's a very short video, and Father Grant features in this as well.
From a bare west ground in a small mining town in Lanarkshire, inspired by the dream of one priest, a vision realised by the hands of local miners, which for the last 100 years has been an oasis of peace and prayer, welcoming pilgrims from all over the world to pray for the intercession of our Blessed Mother. This year, be part of history. Visit Carfin Grotto, Scotland's national Marian shrine.
My name's Father Jim Grant, and I'm the guardian of the grotto here in Carfin. It's my great privilege to look after this beautiful space dedicated to Our Lady of Lourdes and St Therese of Lisieux, situated just about 2 miles from Motherwell. We do have the Grotto of Massabielle here, which was the original spot where Canon Taylor had the first grotto. There's a glass chapel. Often we have perpetual adoration there, masses. We have statues to lots of popular saints. We also have the Therese Chapel, which contains perhaps one of the largest reliquaries of St Therese outside of Lisieux. We have a chapel of relics. It has the largest collection of authenticated relics outside of the Vatican. We have caves, the House of Nazareth, the Cave of Bethlehem, a lovely chapel, the Chapel of the Angels. We have an opportunity for people to buy mementos from the shop, which is situated at the present at the back of the church. We do hope to open the Pilgrimage Centre, which has been closed for the last 2 years. We do hope to reopen that as a bistro cafe. We also have the hall here, where in the meantime, until the Pilgrimage Centre reopens, would be every possibility of having either a meal there or some snacks. If you're booking up to come as a group, book through myself or Roseanne, who looks after the hall bookings. And until we meet again, perhaps someday here in the grotto, God willing, may He bless all of you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
So that's really a kind of oversight into Carfin. There will be some DVDs up there about Carfin Grotto. You can pick up the story of St Therese, which was shown earlier on. If you missed it, you can pick that up as well, and some more books to give more in depth. It's impossible to go so far in depth in half an hour, but I just want to say I hope you really enjoy your day here in Knock. I hope whoever you've come for, it might be for healing, it might be for physical or mental or whatever, St Therese will hear your prayers and intercede for you, because if you do open yourself to St Therese, and she does like to pop up in the most quirkiest of ways in life, she's a very powerful intercessor, as are her parents, Louis and Zélie, and soon to be her sister, Venerable Leonie. So I'm just going to leave you with this short video, which is based on a prayer. The hymn is based on a prayer written by St Therese, which will be your focus today, and hopefully St Therese will hear your prayers today. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll leave you with this hymn and images from Carfin and a procession in honour of St Therese. So thank you very much.